Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 308. I am Virtue, the moderator, being joined by this week's elite panel of the NoDQ Review. Of course, Aaron is here, Big G, and Gino. Gentlemen, what's going on? We were going to have 5, and he finally did a no-call, no-show. TJS is now off of the NoDQ Review panel team. He will be booted out of the chat. And maybe if he sends Aaron $100, he will be able to bring himself back at some point in the future. It doesn't have to be tonight, but in a future super chat. That will be his fee to get back into the group. What's going on, everybody? Gino, what's up?
Not too much. Happy to talk tonight's topics. Happy to be here with everybody.
And everybody's going to have their own topic tonight. Now, you're actually going to bring up what would have been TJS's topic. So that's something you wanted to talk about. So we'll go around when we start that, and I'll go last, of course, because I have the main event topic. So, Gino, stay tuned for that. Big G, what's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. Watched some Monday Night Football last night. Watched my Steelers one going into the bye week. Watched Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about your topic, which was heavily included in Monday Night Raw last night. So other than that, I'm good. And like I always say, let's get this ball rolling, baby.
All right, well, stay tuned. And how I'm going to do this is when we start, I'm going to go to, I'll go to Gino first. He can bring up his topic, be the first to talk about it, and then we'll pass it around. And I wanted to do something different because, there just wasn't anything I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to make it more engaging with the panel members instead of me telling you what we're going to talk about. So we'll see how this goes. Of course, TGS was all excited, had a topic in mind, and guess what? Didn't show up to work. Aaron, what's up?
I'm doing well. Today's my wedding anniversary. Just got back from dinner.
Even worse for TGS to do that.
Topics.
I can't believe it.
I know, right?
He no-shows on my anniversary. What kind of son of a bitch does that? But
maybe it's a present. It'll be a shorter show, and you can get out of here.
Yeah, we're going to go watch Hostel later. Caitlin has never seen Hostel before, so she's in for a treat on that one. Nice, fun family evening of movie watching after we're done with the NoDQ review. Shout out to Michael, who sent in a $2 super chat. I promise he's not a TJS burner. He says, justice for Tyler. Anybody have a comment on that? I mean,
$100 will be justice for Tyler.
Yes. I have no idea. TJS usually gives us a notice in advance if he's not going to show up. We always joke he is the opposite of Mr. Reliable Walter Cruz. He's Mr. Unreliable TJS. Not here tonight. Maybe he went out trick-or-treating with the kids. That is certainly a possibility. We are close to Halloween. Maybe he's writing a card for your birthday, Virtue. Your birthday's coming up. You and Caitlin have the same birthday, so perhaps he's out at Dollar Tree buying you a birthday card.
Well, we're going to see what these excuses are. I'm sure they'll be rolling in on DMs at some point. But, Aaron, are we ready to get started?
I'm excited. Let's do this. Should be a fun night. I'm looking forward to having some different perspectives as far as topics go and seeing what everybody came up with. So let's do it.
So TJS was going to go first. So, Gino, you are going to be kicking it off here. And I know you did have a different topic because his topic was something you were going to talk about. So have at it. It could be whatever you want. It could be the 2-hour Raw and is it good? And will they go back to 3? Same with SmackDown. Or you can talk about the other topic you had in mind about the main roster women's division versus NXT. Surprise us and the floor is yours for as long as you want, and then pass it around so we can get our 2 cents in when you are done.
Okay. Thank you so much, Virtue. So, yeah, I do want to talk about the 2-hour Raw format. It feels like it's been going on for long enough to where we can have kind of an accurate assessment of how we feel about it so far, right? It's tough to gauge after 1 or 2 weeks. Right, we've been going for a few weeks now, and how do we think it compares to the 3-hour format? And should Raw go to 3 hours? So I just want to start off by saying it feels very fast. Obviously, with the commercials in there, it's still taking up the 4-ish, give or take, minutes each time they happen. But it still feels, I don't want to say rushed, but it feels very like it's happening very quick, and that they're running out of time to get to what they need to get to. I can't always catch it live, so I watch it on the tape afterwards on YouTube TV, and I get to skip through the commercials, but that means I get to see exactly how long they are, which is then it's like, okay, yeah, they're about 4.5 minutes still, same as they were with the 3-hour Raw. I would say the winners of this, right? If we want to talk winners and losers of a shorter format, I would say the fans who watch on television are people who are winning, right? You get theoretically more time in your night. You still get to watch wrestling, and you get to have these storylines maybe play out over a longer period of time. That's that long-term storytelling. Now, I think there's more losers in this than there are winners just with this format. You got people who are just not on television at all anymore. You've got people who used to be on television, multiple segments, really only getting one segment, or in the case of Liv and Dom a few weeks ago, literally like under a minute, and then they were gone. And I just feel that having been used to Raw being 3 hours for over a decade, that I would need them to give it some time to really feel it out. And by this point, I think I can safely say it feels a little too short. I think I would prefer Raw to be just a little bit longer, even if it's like 2.5 hours or even 2 hours with overhang. Like they went straight from 3 hours, sometimes with overhang or whatever you want to call it, down to 2 hours, cut right at it. And I thought it was going to be because of the show they had on after, which is something that I'm watching with my girlfriend. But they still kept airing that at 11 o'clock. So I was like, what is the point of all this? So kind of like what you said last night, Aaron, it kind of feels like Raw. It's a little bit of an afterthought right now. And that's, I don't want any of the stuff that they're doing to be an afterthought. So I would say that those are my thoughts right now on how I feel about the 2-hour Raw. And I think it should be extended to all the way to 3 hours, maybe, but we'll see what happens come Netflix. We'll pass on to Big G then.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, so like you said, we were all used to Monday Night Raw being 3 hours for the past decade, and I think they cut it back to 2 hours because of the contract came up with Raw, and they're just having that little bit of leeway with them up until January when they go on Netflix. Now I've heard, there's been multiple reports out there, rumors saying, they're not too sure how long Raw will be on Netflix. It could be 2 hours. It could be 3 hours. Because on Netflix, you can go as long as you freaking want if you want to. Let's be honest. I'm sure there'll be ads in between, like the matches and stuff like that, because that's how Netflix gets their stuff, ads. And they won't be really worrying about what their ratings are going to be. They're going to be Netflix and all the streaming services have always been about how many subscribers they can get. And I feel like if Raw is 2 hours on Netflix, I think you can boost up your subscriptions on Netflix, because you'll have the casual fans or people who haven't watched Raw in like 20 plus years, and they go on Netflix because everybody has Netflix. Let's be real. They're going to go, oh, Monday Night Raw's on Netflix now? Let me go check this out, So it'll be interesting. I'm still trying to get used to the 2 hours. I'm finding it nice because then, I can still watch a movie with my wife after Raw now, or do something with her instead of like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. Well, it's getting close to bedtime. Hopefully SmackDown doesn't go to 3 hours on USA in January, because then we're like, oh, here we go again. We gotta go through all this again, and people will bitch and complain about it again. Sorry, said the B word. Didn't mean to say that, but it's, I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I'm still getting used to the 2 hours. But it does feel like it goes a lot faster than the 3 hours. Because the 3 hours, I felt like it dragged and dragged. You're like, okay, what's gonna happen next? And yeah, they're not going to use some of the wrestlers on there, but we're used to that. They can, when it comes to a major storyline, if that if they need a certain wrestler, I'm sure they'll put that wrestler in there. So
All right,
it'll be
thank you,
interesting.
Thank you, Big G. We're going to go to Aaron next so he can address some super chats, say what he wants to on this, and then I'll close this topic before we move on.
All right. TJS has arrived via super chat. He's missing a 9 from this, but I appreciate the super chat, TJS. He says
he's $90.01 away.
Well, he sent in another one, so 1 second here. He says, apologies, super chat. Got an emergency call from work and I'm stuck trying to help these accountants fix their reports before deadline. Make SmackDown 3 hours and Raw sucks as a 2-hour show. So I will address that in just a moment here. TJS also sent in a $5 super chat. He
$85 to go.
He says, loaded panel. Happy anniversary to Aaron and Caitlin. Did Big G go to Raw in Hershey? Good to see you on, Gino. Virtue looks very handsome tonight. Big G, did you go to
I'm
Raw?
getting a call. I got an emergency here. I'm not going to be able to do the show. Okay. And then I just send a quick message on Messenger to everybody. Hey, guys, I got a work emergency. Can't do the show. Done. Now I can go work on my emergency. Oh, okay.
No,
that was
I
an
did
example.
not. I
took 10
did not go to
seconds.
Ron Hershey.
All right,
I
well,
did not
there
go
you
to Raw.
I'm surprised because you go to every big show, Big G.
When the Steelers are playing, football comes first before wrestling.
Wow.
But my wife comes first, then football, then wrestling. So in that chronological order.
I see.
How does
That's
that work
where
with
things
Raw
stand.
not being 3 hours now? How's the live show? Do they still get there? Like when you go to a Raw and you pay a ticket, do you still get
I
money's
think
worth?
they do. Yeah, because they do like the dark matches again afterwards or whatever. So,
Anyways, TJS, I forgive you, but Virtue has his rule. You no-show too many times, so he's gonna make you pay for it literally if you want to.
No show, no call, or no tell. That's a big strike.
I do forgive TJS though, even though it's my anniversary. I do forgive him for that. TJS, regarding what you said about SmackDown, here's what I think is going to happen. I think right now, because USA Network has Raw and SmackDown, that's a factor in why they decided to just cut the show down to 2 hours for now. And plus, USA Network wasn't committed to WWE for Monday Night Raw initially. Their contract was going to expire at the end of September, but they extended it for WWE, and now they got 4 hours of programming. What I think is going to happen is with Netflix, it'll fluctuate. It'll sometimes be 2 hours. It'll sometimes be 3 hours. It'll depend on what they want to do in that particular week, how long they think the show needs to be. And I think SmackDown is probably going to be 3 hours. In the end, we're likely going to have more WWE programming than what we have had over the past several years. So get used to it. Enjoy the shorter shows while it lasts. I personally prefer the 2-hour broadcasts. They're just easier to watch.
Yeah.
But I can understand from a creative standpoint, going from 3 to 2, you feel like you have to rush things more. You have a large roster. Fewer people are getting TV time. I can understand wanting to do 3 hours. And WWE has such a big roster. I mean, they could do 3-hour Raws and 3-hour SmackDowns. It's a lot to have fans watch that much programming, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did it. As a viewer, I think 2 hours is ideal. But I kind of like the Netflix idea too, where it depends on the situation. If it's like WrestleMania season, you want to go 3 hours, boom, you go 3 hours. If it's September football season, creatively don't have any good ideas, do a 2-hour show, keep it short. So I actually like the idea of them being able to fluctuate and change the running time of Monday Night Raw on any given week. That I think will work out nicely in the future. So Virtue, I'll throw it over to you now.
They have 3 shows a week because I'm going to count NXT too. They all need to be 2 hours. I mean, you don't need any show 3 hours when you have 3 shows a week. Make your pay-per-views your 3 hours, and then maybe on occasion 4 hours if it's WrestleMania. You don't need to have a longer wrestling event than that, especially on weeknights, routine TV. You don't have to put as much filler out there, which is the boring stuff. Keep it more fresh. That's the only thing that I would like a little differently, and I was thinking about this. So Monday night getting cut back temporarily to 2 hours. Now the 8 to 10 is nice because then, like Big G said, you have time to watch a movie. I can play video games afterwards. I still like that 9 to 11 block that they used to do back in the day. I remember the first hour was Raw is War and the second hour was Warzone. For whatever reason why they did that, 9 to 11 would be great because then I can get more stuff done before, watch it, and then power hour, 11 to midnight, play some video games and go to bed. But 2 hours is still the cap. I just, these 3-hour wrestling shows for a routine wrestling weekly show is just ridiculous. But like Aaron said, we're probably going to get more wrestling content after the new year. And that's really all I got to say about that. Any last comments before we move on to Big G's topic?
I think
We are good.
We're good.
Big G,
So this is
up.
going to be.
you got to introduce it. Tell people what we're talking about.
So WWE today came out with an official statement launching a new indie wrestling developmental program. Excuse me. Now, WWE already has the Next in Line program where they bring in former athletes and stuff like that. And they're doing a tremendous job on NXT. You know, you have a bunch of former athletes, gymnasts on there, like Sol Ruka, Kalani Jordan. Male-wise, I can't think of anybody right now because all the females are like gymnasts and former athletes. So they came out saying today that a couple of developmental wrestling schools, including Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, the Nightmare Factory, which is owned by Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins and his Black and Brave Academy, Knox Pro Academy, which is big in the LA area, which is run by Rikishi, and Elite Pro Wrestling Training Center. I'm not too sure who runs that. But basically, this WWE ID will identify top independent wrestling prospects with an official WWE ID prospect designation and support the developmental journey by providing financial opportunity and assisting with training, mentorship, and development, including access to world-class facilities, best-in-class ring training, athletic trainers, and more. And it would also give fans the opportunity to follow the path of these standout prospects on the independent wrestling scene through curated behind-the-scenes content, as well as highlights and matches showcased across all platforms. So when I saw this, I thought it was very interesting. You know, WWE wants to find their next superstar, next wrestler, whatever you want to call it nowadays, because they say both on the main roster. I thought, like I said, I thought it was interesting, you know, to see there's a lot of independent wrestlers out there trying to make it on the big stage. And WWE, I mean, if you've gone to the Performance Center, if you've seen pictures of it or when they show it on one of their documentaries, the Performance Center is the best in the world right now. You know, a lot of the young professional wrestlers that go there, they get the best training. You know, you have Shawn Michaels down there, you have A-Train down there, you have a lot of people down there, and you have other wrestlers coming in there to help train them and stuff like that. And with this WWE ID, you can make new superstars for the future and stuff like that. So I thought that was very interesting. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. If you want to start Virtue, and then we'll go with Aaron and then Gino.
So my thing is why. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back in time.
Okay.
Not the territory days. That's how Vince poached all the talent originally.
Right.
Grew his company nationally and globally. They had one indie territory promotion, whatever you want to call it, back when it was Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Yep.
And look at the superstars, the mega all-time greats that it created. Okay. And for whatever reason, they went on from that. They kind of wanted to do their own thing a little bit more and have more control over it. So the Florida Championship Wrestling, FCW, happened.
Yep.
The Shield, and that turned into early NXT. The Shield, Roman Reigns, the Wyatts, Rollins, like it was all working, right? And of course, it morphed into what we know, the black and gold NXT. And that was pulling in a lot of indie wrestlers, like you're speaking of, giving them opportunities. We have Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn in big roles.
Yeah.
What I don't understand, like, they're so huge of a company, they just feel this need. We got to stretch bigger. We got to get more. When OVW, FCW, and even NXT produced great stars, that's the formula. And so, to me, I'm confused when I see this. And I know they bought some indie promotions before. It's baffling. It's confusing. I don't know what kind of control they want. They think they have. Is it going to reach to the other side of the United States? Are they trying to create an indie territory system so they can find talent? Because what they've had the last 25 years, dating back to OVW, worked for top stars. Now, maybe they don't want those guys. Maybe they don't want the Roman Reigns and the Brock Lesnar's and the big stars that demand this high money that could go off to Hollywood and do stuff like that. Maybe it's all, hey, let's just bring in a bunch of replaceable wrestlers. They'll have their run. Some will be main eventers, and then we'll rinse and repeat and get new ones. Maybe that's why they're doing this. I just ask why. And I don't know, enlighten me, chat. Enlighten me. Gino, I'll pass it over to you now. I mean, I'm just looking at all-time greats, and whatever they had in place prior to what they're trying to do now produced a lot. You'd think somebody would go back and start using that formula. I'm not saying they got to go back and like buy OVW and start that again. Like, they moved on. They have it all in Florida. But it's just crazy. They think they're going to find all these top stars. How has that been going? Like, yeah, we have Braun Breaker, but like, how did Gable Steveson work? Look at somebody. I just question, maybe they don't want stars bigger than the company anymore. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack with this. Obviously, it came out today. Now they're calling it, first thing that struck out to me, they're calling it WWE ID, which sounds like what Nike has going in with their shoes, Nike ID, where you like customize your shoe. So I don't know if that's the best like name for it. I get it's independent development or whatever it stands for. And my first thoughts were initially that it sounded like the territory days, right? Like they were going to bring together all of these individualized but somehow related things to just be under one umbrella. And then, I kind of read into it a little bit more. And with what you said, Virtue, why? So the only thing, and they're going to be given like state-of-the-art equipment to control. So they're going to be given state-of-the-art equipment to these guys. And it's not like they're people who aren't associated with WWE, right? You've got Booker T, you've got Cody Rhodes, you've got Seth Rollins. You've got the Concord, New Hampshire one, which I'm from New Hampshire, so that piqued my interest. And that's run by a couple of guys who used to work for WWE, not like on-screen talent, but they've trained people like Tommaso Ciampa, things like that, Fandango. So they're getting these people that they already have familiarity with. And the way I see it is NXT, which I kind of, until this announcement, always kind of described it and to people who don't understand what it is and thought of it as a developmental program. And in a way, it still is for TV wrestling. Now, I'm looking at this like thinking of like the NFL, right? You can get kids playing football, tackle football, like 6-7 years old, right? And then they're on a fast track, and now you've got potential new players 15, 20 years from now. So obviously you can't have everybody like Javon Evans is his name, I think.
Yeah, Javon Evans, yeah.
Yeah, where he's super young and he's already on TV and he's doing great things. I don't know if these programs or these schools work with just younger people, but like, you can't really have somebody really training to be a wrestler until they're older, unlike the NFL where you've got these kids hooked on football since, as soon as they could play it. So I feel like they're just trying to get to just enhance the youthful talent out there so that when they do bring them in, they have to do less work. And honestly, I feel like Jade Cargill is a big reason why they feel like they need to do this. When they brought Jade in, they expected her to be ready to go, and it was very obvious that she wasn't. And they had to do months and months of work with her, and they don't want to have to do that. They want these people to be trained properly so that when they come into WWE, the only thing they got to teach them is where the hard cam is and how to work a bigger crowd, things like that. So that's kind of how I see it. I don't know if I'm way off base, but it feels like they're just trying to create a more of a, from a younger standpoint, farm system directly to the WWE.
Well, find out whatever they did with Logan Paul and get more guys like that, because that was money. And he ain't even doing it full time. He'll come back when he wants, but he knocked it out of the park. He has been great.
Yeah.
Probably the top celebrity as a wrestler that I can ever remember, like in terms of what he can do in the ring and entertaining and a great heel. Do more of that. And I don't know, it's the celebrity part of it. Maybe that's why they're doing this, but yes, Big G. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, Aaron.
I don't really have too much to add to what you guys have already said. It feels like WWE just wants more control. They're doing it because they can. They want more control over the wrestling scene in the United States and worldwide, for that matter. Just trying to be the dominant brand, and they will be. They will be the top brand for years to come. It doesn't really seem necessary for them to do this, but they can, so they will. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be beneficial, really. I think the wrestlers should be able to learn things outside of WWE's system, and I think if WWE has too much power, there's the risk that everyone's going to wrestle and look the same. And I think that having different people teach you wrestling besides WWE is actually a good thing, because it gives you a little bit of a different character. But with WWE, they want everybody to act and look a certain way. And I think the variety is good for wrestling. I don't think it's a positive when everybody does the same thing. But again, WWE wants the control. They want everybody to wrestle a certain way. And that's what they're doing here. So I have mixed feelings on it, and I guess we'll see. I mean, they already got NXT. They already have a developmental league. I don't know why they need to be doing this on top of what they already have, but here we are. And we have a $5 super chat here from the Anime Gen 2.0. Thank you. I appreciate it. It says, who wins? Undertaker, Kane, Hulk Hogan versus Batista, Mick Foley, and Kevin Nash. So I guess this is a 6-man tag team match. Well, I would actually go with Hulk Hogan, because I think of the 6 guys, Hulk Hogan would have the most creative control and would make sure that he goes over, and he would say, this doesn't work for me, brother. Even Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash is a master politician in wrestling. I don't know if Kevin Nash would have enough stroke to be able to get himself out of this one. Mick Foley would probably be the one doing the job here. But yeah, creative control, brother. Hulk Hogan wins. Does anybody else?
If it's a 3-on-3 match, right?
Yeah.
If it's at WrestleMania, definitely Taker, Kane, and Hogan, based on Hogan and Taker's combined WrestleMania record.
Oh my God! You know what he just look at those 6 names.
I mean, that's what I first thought when I saw the names posted. That was a Survivor Series style, like team this versus team that. But
yeah, I mean, that would be a hell of a dream match if everybody was in their prime and you did that. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'd have to say, if we're talking all these guys in their prime, I think Hogan's team would have to win. You got Undertaker, you got Kane, like that is the team of the superpowers, and Mick Foley is Mick Foley. So I mean, Mick Foley would be taking an ass kicking in that match and would likely do the job in that one. So thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it.
Well, we will move on to my main event now. I did not have Aaron pick a topic because he does all the super chats, and that's kind of his topic, bringing up what you guys want to talk about and what you pay to talk about, and you still have time to do that. So my main event topic today is Sami Zayn is lurking and talking to both sides of the bloodline, and the saga continues. He was talking to Solo. We know that he was always good friends with the original bloodline, which Solo was a part of. So maybe he's trying to bring that back together. Who knows what's going to happen, but we need to dissect this because finally Jimmy and Jay have mended and patched things up. We'll watch SmackDown on Friday, which, there are spoilers out there, and we'll see where that leads. I'm sure most of us already know. But here's the bottom line. We have 2 bloodlines. The good bloodline is the original Bloodline, which will be the babyface Bloodline, is getting back together, it looks like. And where's Sami Zayn going to stand in all this? Because he had such a huge role with the original Bloodline. I think that even if he's not like in this long term through all the way to Rock and Roman, he could meddle in this for quite some time because he's got that Bloodline experience, and it could get interesting if they swerve us a little bit. Something interesting could happen with all of this. Big G, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts here? Keep in mind when we talk about Sami Zayn, his good buddy Kevin Owens is beating up Cody Rhodes, who, we don't know. This could all intertwine over the next 6 months. It's going to be interesting. Go ahead.
It is interesting, seeing the segment yesterday with Sammy talking to Solo and Jimmy and Jay, kind of like seeing him do that. They're like, okay, where's he gonna stand? What's he talking about? Because we don't know what he said to Solo or what Sammy said to Sammy. Sammy could be trying to mend the fences. He could be trying to get into Solo's head by saying, I'm gonna be with you with this bloodline, and then somehow like turns on him and joins the OG bloodline. We don't know where this is gonna go, but what we do know is I think they announced it on X yesterday after Raw that we have the 6-man tag with the bloodline, Solo's bloodline versus the OG bloodline on Saturday, and we possibly could see Sami Zayn showing up there now that he wants to go to Saudi, so we can see him get involved somehow with that. Because literally later that month we have Survivor Series War Games, and it looks like it'll be 4-on-4 Solo's bloodline versus the OG bloodline.
Now, Big G, let me ask you this: Is it typically has it been 5-on-5?
It has been.
So okay, before you continue, we don't know what they're going to do, but the Tongas, Solo, Jacob, Owens.
That's what I was thinking.
And then Roman, the Usos, Sammy,
and Cody. That's what I was thinking. Like I was like thinking about that. I'm like, could they get Kevin involved and Cody involved again? But like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they go in the next couple of weeks, because we know Gunther and Cody are fighting on Crown Jewel on Saturday. Sorry, and they could potentially add them into the Bloodline storyline, but we'll see where it goes. I'm very intrigued, and I know people on social media are complaining, oh, they're rushing this. People, Survivor Series is literally a month away from now. They got to get the ball rolling.
I like that 5-on-5 that's proposed, and then
I do
keep
too.
It 5-on-5 like it's always been.
Yeah. So, but like I said, it'll be interesting to see if Sammy gets involved this coming Saturday at Crown Jewel in that 6-man tag match. So,
all righty. Well,
thank you. You're welcome.
You, Big G. Okay, Gino, over to you.
Yep. Let's do it. So I like the 5-on-5 you presented. I keep thinking to myself, well, Randy Orton would have to be there, but no, I actually do think Kevin Owens is going to put him on the shelf sooner rather than later, like Triple H was afraid of. So as far as Sami Zayn, we all kind of knew or expected, or at least wanted them to bring him into this Bloodline versus New Bloodline storyline. I'm getting a similar feeling with the Cody story. It doesn't seem like any like Sammy and Randy and Kevin Owens and all these people on the outside aren't okay with Cody and now main event Jey Uso kind of going back in with them without kind of making them pay for kind of how they treated them, right? So you're like, why would you get back into bed with Roman Reigns? Why would you get back in with them when they wronged you so hard? And not only that, they wronged me as somebody who's trying to convince you to watch your back. And then, at the end of that, we see him talking to Solo, right? And I feel like they want us to think it's a heel turn. I'm not buying it, right? I don't see how you do this story and have Sammy siding with Solo and those guys. I did love the shot, the production value of kind of showing them through the metal grate or the railing or whatever it was. That was really well done. I'm loving all of the more cinematic stuff that WWE's willing to try. Some of it, not all of it's working, but like to break from the hard cam and doing all these things, the overhead shots and the side angles, and sometimes the camera needs to be moved out of and it's not like, oh, they made a mistake. No, it's like planned. And I just really love how they're doing that. It just feels like this is a swerve. They might try to say Sami was just trying to talk sense into Solo, or that Solo wanted to talk to him, like you guys were saying. But at the end of the day, Sami's going to be feeling Usi sooner rather than later, and it's going to be all fun, and it's going to be we get to all cheer for this version of the Bloodline together versus having to boo them, even though we want to cheer them because they're the most entertaining thing on the show. That's awesome.
And it's nice when I do this, keeping these characters and not just doing something for a long period of time and then everyone goes their separate ways. Because that does happen, but I like things coming back together at least for a little bit, and it makes sense with Survivor Series. They got to do something, and we will see. Aaron, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I wanted to go back to that super chat from the Anime Gen. So he said, I'm endorsing Donald Trump. I totally didn't get the reference that it was all the Trump supporters versus the
That's
Kamala
why I was
Harris
laughing.
supporters.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely picked Taker and Hogan. Absolutely, 100%.
Well, I didn't know, so that does not equal an endorsement on my part. I
endorse that team. Absolutely. I do not,
and I'm sure
my own individual
TJS,
self. Yeah,
I'm sure TJS very much endorses that team for many reasons. But anyways, moving on from that, as far as Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn go, I really liked that angle on Raw. I mean, I think it's obvious Sami Zayn will be part of Roman Reigns' team, and this is just a little storyline to get Zayn back into the mix, which I think is a good idea to do this and create a little bit of doubt and tease some dissension between Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Makes it interesting, rather than just Sami Zayn's like, okay, yeah, if Jey Uso's going to be part of the team, I guess I can forgive Roman Reigns. I like that they're doing this to add some more depth to it. But yeah, I definitely expect Sami Zayn to be on Roman Reigns' team for Survivor Series. I would like to just see it stay as 4-on-4, Bloodline versus Bloodline. I'm kind of happy that Cody's out of the picture right now with the Bloodline. I really don't see the need to keep him in there. I think it should just be the Bloodline versus Bloodline. And as far as Crown Jewel goes, right now they're teasing like it might be 3-on-4. It's not really clear. They show all 4 of Solo's Bloodline team members in the graphic. I don't know if it's just going to be 3 of them representing the Bloodline, but I think Bloodline needs to win this just to establish them as dominant, even though Roman Reigns has both Usos. Roman Reigns is going to need one more guy by his side in order for it to be truly a fair fight for Survivor Series. I'm very intrigued about the match. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Roman Reigns wins. It's hard to bet against Roman, right? Like every time you bet against him, he ends up winning. So yeah, I'm very curious about how the Crown Jewel match is going to play out. And that definitely elevates my interest in the show. Like I was feeling somewhat mixed about Crown Jewel, but now that they announced the Roman Reigns match, they got Sami Zayn in the mix again. They're setting up Survivor Series. I'm more hyped for Crown Jewel now than I was a week ago. I'm very much looking forward to the pay-per-view, and I'm interested in seeing what they do next with Sami Zayn and what little twists and turns we get before Survivor Series. But I do expect maybe a week or two before the show, they'll all be reunited. Maybe we get Paul Heyman back. We get the full Bloodline. Like I would like to see something similar to the Invasion when Steve Austin was not wanting to be part of things with Team WWF, and Vince McMahon said he wants the old Stone Cold back. Then Austin comes out there. He's conflicted, but he ultimately helps WWF, and then you have like the whole WWF team united together. Like I want to see that as kind of like the cliffhanger for Survivor Series, with the whole OG bloodline, Roman Reigns, the Usos, the honorary Us, Sami Zayn, and Paul Heyman all together on that go-home show as like your final shot before Survivor Series. That's what I'm hoping for. We still got about a month away. Do a few more twists and turns along the way, but that's where we'll get to. I don't know if The Rock's going to be there or not. I'd love to see him part of it. Maybe cost Roman Reigns his team at Survivor Series, but I'm not getting my hopes up on that one. You know, that remains to be seen.
What do you anticipate for Cody at Survivor Series if you're going with the 4-on-4 bloodline match? Cody and Owens, but like you would think Cody's going to wrestle at Survivor Series, right?
Right. So I feel like they're probably going to save Cody Rhodes versus Cody versus Kevin Owens for Saturday night's main event. Maybe they do a triple threat with Randy Orton. Maybe Randy Orton beats Kevin Owens and faces Cody at Survivor Series and loses, and then Owens gets another match. I mean, there's several ways they can go with that, but I feel like Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, they're all going to be in it together. I mean, they've already now teased Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. If you recall on SmackDown last week, Cody Rhodes was being attacked, and then Randy Orton helped him. Randy Orton picked up that WWE title before handing it over. That was a little subtle tease there. So I think we're getting that pretty soon. I don't know if it's going to be Survivor Series or if they're going to do a triple threat, but I feel like Randy Orton's going to be in the mix. We'll see what happens.
See, what I would like, Aaron, at Crown Jewel, I would like Roman to get his Ulafala back and wear it, carry that into Survivor Series, and then whatever happens at the end of the War Games match, and again, just throwing this out there, that's when I would like to see The Rock show up again. Or it could happen on the Netflix Raw and takes the Ulafala from Roman, and that's when he declares that he is the head of the table, the tribal chief, and then beats up Roman so bad he's gone until number 25 or whatever you want to throw him in the Royal Rumble.
Bingo.
So he can win it. So he
you
can
know
win
what?
It. Now, with that, and again, that's contingent on if Rock gets his match with Cody. That's why I had Cody still in the mix somehow.
Yeah.
You know, because I just feel I'm going with my gut that still The Rock is going to win that title from Cody. Maybe it won't happen, but we'll see.
Here's what I would like. I think they should do a really strong angle on that first Netflix Raw. That would be the perfect time for The Rock to be revealed as the mastermind. And like you said, take the Ulafala from Roman Reigns and just beat the shit out of Roman and say, I'm the tribal chief now. Cody Rhodes, I'll see you at the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, The Rock wins the title from Cody, but then Roman Reigns, as a surprise, shows up in the Royal Rumble, wins it. Boom. You got WrestleMania set up. Roman Reigns challenges The Rock for the championship and the Ulafala, the biggest match of all
that
time.
You could have.
It's already on its way to being the highest grossing WrestleMania. They're saying already, and I believe it with those ticket prices, that already the best grossing weekend in WWE history for ticket sales.
And if it plays out that at the end of Survivor Series is when Rock shows up, beats down Reigns so bad that he's gone, that's Reigns' vacation. He doesn't have to do any dates the rest of the year. And then we'll see what happens in 2025. That would be great.
Here we go again.
Well, so I keep arguing this. Like, in a way, you're right, but you have to keep in mind, the world title match should be the main event. And we all know Roman Reigns versus The Rock is the biggest match they can do. Nothing can top that. So the world title, you're doing a disservice to the world title by having that beneath The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Yeah. You're doing Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Nothing's topping that. The WWE title should be the main event. So you might as well have it be the title match.
Here we go, Big G. Warhawk, whatever, Rambo. They need the title because I'm a wrestling mark, and you don't need a part-time or two part-time.
I love it.
I'm battling for the title. Coming into this whole bloodline angle was created by Roman Reigns, and Heyman presenting that title is the highest prize. Okay, like I argued before, only a mark would say, don't need that title. But to a casual fan that knows The Rock from movies from the past, You put all that stuff on the line, you get even more people interested, and not just Netflix, Peacock, all of that stuff. And the WWE TKO is paying The Rock big money to be on that board and being part of the company. You utilize it to the max. So there you go.
All right. So we got one more super chat here from Daryl, who sent in a 35 ZAR super chat. I always forget what region that's from. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. It says, with Solo Sikoa and his bloodline losing so much since SummerSlam, are they actually a threat to Roman Reigns' OG bloodline, or are they booked as losers? Well, this is why I argue that they win at Crown Jewel, because they've been losing, and they really need a strong win, because then why are you doing war games? Like, if these guys aren't a real threat, why even have Sami Zayn in the mix? If the 3 guys could beat the 4 guys, why are we doing a war games match? Oh yeah, they're just gonna beat them down on SmackDown. Oh, we need Sami Zayn now. No, I think Bloodline needs to win at Crown Jewel. Virtue, what do you think? Like, who should be going over? How do you set these guys up as a real threat for Survivor Series?
Yeah, I mean, because they probably will have that War Games match, that somehow the Bad Bloodline does need to win in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel. And again, how do you make them strong? Like, if they are just kind of meddling along and they're not getting the W's, well, if the big reveal is The Rock comes back and is the mastermind behind them, and then they just get their heat back by beating down the Bloodline, wins and losses don't matter anymore, because The Rock's basically just using them as his goons and his forcers. But they have to make that happen. If they don't, then yes, Aaron, they need a win.
Yeah. Gino.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously they haven't been booked to win the matches and stuff, but time after time after time, SmackDown's going off the air with Roman Reigns laid out and the new bloodline standing tall. Whenever they show up, right, it feels like it. As a viewer, right, who tries to just watch the product and enjoy it, I feel like something bad's going to happen, that they are a threat when I see them. I don't see them and think, oh, they're not a threat, right? So obviously they need to win matches for the story to continue. But I do feel like anytime you see them walking out, or 2 of them walking out, it's like, okay, something bad's going to happen to people. Like, they don't usually, other than during the matches, come out on the worser end of those, beatdowns. So from that perspective, I would say they're a threat, but not to maybe winning matches.
Stay tuned.
Right, well said.
What else? Anybody got anything else? That's it.
Good.
It's Aaron's anniversary.
Right.
We got to let him off the hook early.
Yeah.
So he can enjoy the evening with his wife. Last words, Big G. Go ahead and start.
Yeah. So, and if you want to throw it up, if you have it, there you go. If you're a cat person or love cats, YouTube Harley and Joker 2021. I got a whole bunch of videos up there. X on NoDQ _ BigBiology, TikTok BigBiology 1988, and on the Insta NoDQ _ BigBiology 1988. And that was it for me.
All right. Thank you, Big G. Okay, Gino.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Happy anniversary, Aaron. Guys, you can find me on my YouTube channel. I do a lot of live streaming, gaming, stuff like that, movie reviews. We have a blast. Speaking of having a blast, guys, I'm having a great time here with you. And thank you so much for inviting me back. And I hope everybody has a happy Halloween.
You're welcome. Hey, and if we do this format again, we can talk about main roster women's roster versus NXT's. So I know I put that in the chat, but we kind of skipped over it because we had somebody no show, no call, and he's $85 away from getting back in the good graces. All right, Aaron.
But apparently he has a time limit, right?
Survivor Series.
All right. I thought
To the end is Survivor Series credits go up and it's off. So you got to the very end.
So TJS, you know what to do. You got to keep those super chats coming in.
No,
maybe
you know
a
what?
little bit at a time.
Till your recap of Survivor Series afterwards, till that, because he's got to have a chance, right, to do the super chat remaining amount. So that's the deadline.
Okay, it doesn't have to be the NoDQ review. It can be any stream. So
of yours,
yes. TJS, we'd love to have you back on, but Virtue has laid the hammer down for your constant no shows, and that's the stipulation here. Will we ever hear TJS giggle on the NoDQ review again? TJS, you are officially on the
And
clock.
he super chats anyways. So, like, you know what I mean? He can just bundle this all together. It's like a bundle deal.
And
Yeah.
this guy Experience said he'd send $16 for TGS. I don't know if that's
We might be able to do that if people super chat on behalf of TGS. I guess that could come off the total too. Why not?
Yeah.
All right,
Any
there you go.
streams between now and the Survivor Series stream. Yeah.
All right, so if anybody wants TJS back on,
85 is the
super
remaining.
chat, feel free to put in the comments. This is towards the TJS fund, return to NoDQ review fund that we've started here. Anyways, guys, just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest. Thank you all for the anniversary well wishes. I appreciate it. And happy early birthday to Virtue and Caitlin. They share the same birthday, October 30th. And then Halloween is coming up. Going to be a fun time for that. No set plans for Halloween, taking that night off, but I might do something Friday night just to give some final thoughts heading into the pay-per-view. We'll see on that, but for sure, I will be back this Saturday doing coverage on NoDQ of the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it, and then I'll be back on afterwards. Hopefully TJS will be around. Would love to hear from him, and thank you, Gino. You are becoming Mr. Reliable #2, along with Walter Cruz, becoming a regular on the NoDQ review. And Big G's always happy to be here, a veteran of the channel. Always a great time when Big G's on. And Virtue, thank you as always for hosting. And that's it, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Virtue, I'll let you wrap it up.
NoDQ.com/merch and at NoDQ_Virtue on Twitter. That is it for Aaron, for Gino, for Big G, and the whole NoDQ crew and Galaxy. And TJS is $85 away from getting back on the panel. Good night, everybody. We will see you again next time.